The changing Earth. Scientists believe the Earth is around 4.6 billion years old. They also believe that the first life on Earth, prokaryotes, showed up around 3.5 billion years ago. There's evidence that eukaryotic cells made their first arrival around 2.1 billion years, but from what we know now, multicellular organisms didn't make their debut until just 700 million years ago. To get a concept of that, if we're looking at long ago, Precambrian age, Paleozoic, Mesozoic, Cenozoic, up to modern times, if we're looking at the entire history of life on Earth, for about 80% of the time that life has been on Earth, single-celled organisms were the only thing going on. If the entire history of Earth was transposed on a 24-hour day, humans would have only been here for less than 1 minute. So how do we know about past life on Earth? One of the major ways is fossils. Fossils are traces or remains of organisms that lived in the past. They can be found in sedimentary rock, such as this fossil here. Tar pits, such as La Brea tar pits in California, are a famous example. Peat bogs, like the preserved humans they find in Great Britain. Amber, which is petrified tree sap that preserves insects so well, if you're thinking of Jurassic Park. And ice packs. Humans and mammoths have been found in great condition. The majority of fossils are embedded within sedimentary rock. The sediments are deposited in layers called strata. Because of this, we can have relative dating of fossils. Looking at these that are on the bottom are going to be older than those that are on the top. Other examples of fossils, we get imprints of leaves or shells. We have bones or even footprints. So as we're thinking of fossils, and even though we have several ways in which they can be preserved, you can notice that typically harder body parts are going to be preserved more frequently because of the nature of how fossils are formed. Scientists who study fossils and the ancient past are called paleontologists. Some fossils serve as transitional links between groups. For example, fossils of Archaeopteryx that lived 165 million years ago serve as an example. They display an intermediate form between dinosaurs and birds. As we'll see later, birds are the living relatives of dinosaurs. Archaeopteryx has dinosaur features in that it has jaws with teeth and a long, jointed tail. The bird features that it has, most notably, it has feathers and wings that are found in modern birds. The fossils of Archaeopteryx are similar to other transitional fossils since they have traits like their ancestors and others like their descendants rather than intermediate traits. This is Archaeopteryx. So if we're noticing that it does have wings, right, but bones with these claws, the long jointed tail, this beak with teeth. There's also this concept of living fossils. These are organisms that were thought to be extinct but are later found to be extant or still living, and that have changed little over evolutionary time. The coelacanth is a great example of that. This is a fossilized coelacanth. This is a lobe-finned fish. And this is a living coelacanth. And they do look very prehistoric, and they are consistent throughout the fossil record. Other examples of living fossils that have changed little over time include alligators, sharks, lungfish, and the horseshoe crab. Paleontologists have broken Earth's history into 4 eras. So these 4 different eras are the Cenozoic, the Mesozoic, the Paleozoic, and then this isn't labeled here, but there's also the Precambrian. So we have Cambrian, and that Precambrian being before that. The current era that we are in is the Cenozoic. This is the age of mammals. This is about 70 million years in duration so far. Major events include land rises, a wide range of temperatures, modern mammals including canines, felines, horses, humans. We have herbaceous plants that have spread and diversified. You can see right between the Mesozoic and Cenozoic eras, there's a mass extinction in which about 50% of all species, dinosaurs, and most reptiles die off. So right before the Cenozoic, we have the Mesozoic era. This is the age of dinosaurs. This was about 160 million years in duration. One large continent, or Pangaea, breaks down into two: Laurasia, which became present-day North America, Europe, and Asia, and Gondwanaland, which became present-day India, Africa, Australia, South America, and Antarctica. This is continental drift. So let's take a look at that. So again, this is during the Mesozoic era. About 250 million years ago, we have this single continent that breaks into two: Laurasia, Gondwanaland. You can see that the Mesozoic era is further broken down into periods: the Cretaceous, Jurassic, and Triassic periods. During the Mesozoic era, there were high sea levels, warm, shallow marshes were common, dinosaurs, snakes, lizards, crocodiles, alligators, and turtles, and flowering plants spread. Before the Mesozoic era, we have the Paleozoic era. That was the age of invertebrates, fish, and amphibians. It's about 375 million years in duration. Pangaea existed then. There are many shallow seas. There's insects, fish, frogs, reptiles, algae, the first land plants, giant ferns, and conifers. The last era we're going to look at is the Precambrian age. This is the age of the first prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. This was about 4 billion years in duration. The earth forms and cools, the crust is established, and the oceans are warm. Prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells made their debut, and multicellular organisms appeared toward the end of this era. Also notice on this table that we have several mass extinctions that are noted. An extinction is the death of every member of a species. Within a mass extinction, we have a large number of species that become extinct in a short period of time. The remaining species may spread out and fill habitats that are left vacant. So these mass extinctions become really significant in history of life on Earth and how things diversify and spread, and to this concept of evolution or change over time. The 5 major extinctions that have occurred so far were at the end of the Ordovician, Devonian, Permian, Triassic, and Cretaceous periods, as we can see here with these spikes. There is concern that Earth may currently be experiencing a 6th mass extinction, in large part due to human activities. Mass extinctions of the past have been caused by dramatic heating or cooling of the Earth and dramatic changes in climate that species were not able to adapt to quick enough in order to survive.